Tablet's computer.
Hey everybody, just getting on. Enjoy some dubstep while we get set up. See y'all in a minute. We'll get started in just a few minutes, listen to a little more dubstep, and let's rock. everybody, Kelly here, Diamond Leader at Works Global, joined tonight by this handsome fellow back here. We are going to do a little bit of a joint webinar because sometimes it's really good to hear from the other side of It Works. In my case, it's my spouse. And we have a couple great things to talk about tonight. We get to hear from my husband, Terrell or T or however you know him, because I think people on this team know him as a lot of different things. But as always, these webinars are not just for It Works people. I mean, we obviously tie in It Works a lot because that's a business we're a part of. But if you know someone who may benefit from this, please share it with them. And those of you who have team members that wanted to watch but couldn't tonight, remember that these are always recorded, and you will use the link that you clicked, and I'll also post that link at the end in our group. You can go back and watch previous webinars. I did have a question today. What is my name on YouTube? And it's really original. It's Kelly Frederick. So you can search that out. There are webinars that the team has done, that I have done, and I'm really excited about the coming webinars because I've got some great ideas from some other leaders about tying in different aspects and things to learn and different people on the team. So I'm really excited to be able to get started with that. So stay tuned for those webinars. I did post a video today about how I've been working on those 400 Club bracelets from July. I know, right? That's awful. But I have 1.5 million notes to write and things to send. And I'm really excited about that. So expect in the mail if you have not gotten one from me yet. And I have been going through and looking at the 400 Clubbers from August. So stay tuned for a shout out for that. So let me see. I got to make sure we got everything going on Facebook here. Okay. So if your team needs to be tagged in this link, please go ahead and tag them in the group. I just posted in the group, and hopefully our internet's working. It's being really slow. We think it may be our computer, so sorry about that. Okay, so tonight we're just going to kind of hit on a couple things, and we're going to try to get done as soon as possible because we're all busy, right? And the easier it is for you guys to watch when these are shorter and you can get the info, the training, the inspiration, whatever it is that you're looking for, and then go out and apply that as opposed to sitting for an hour or two on a training. So the first thing that I want to really encourage people to be doing is personal development, because if you're not growing as a person, you guys, you're going to struggle growing in your business. And I know life happens. Okay, it happens to everyone. And I've found myself not doing as well as I was hoping, and I realized that it's because I'm not focusing on my personal development. So make sure that you're really striving to grow yourself so that you can be successful, not just in this business, but in life in general. Along with that, I really want to encourage the time management and planning. We'll talk about this a little later, but this, when you treat it like a job, whatever type of job, time, whatever, you are going to be more successful. So when you're planning something to do every day and you're doing it, you're executing and you're holding yourself accountable, you will see this start to pay out like a business. So plan. The battle is won in the general's tent. You have to plan before you go out to battle. Now there's a webinar that's basically titled that, The Battle is Won in the General's Tent, talking about planning. If you guys want to go back and watch that. So I encourage you to do that. If you need suggestions on how to plan your day, plan your week, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. Sorry, I'm going kind of fast because I want to get to the good stuff, right? Another thing I really want to mention is if you are struggling getting people, which we will talk about, like I said, I need you to take a look at how you are presenting yourself, the products in the business. I've noticed a lot of people have started to go the route of looking salesy online and looking desperate for people to sign up, which is a huge turnoff for people. Okay, if you're looking desperate and you're just posting like join me, try this, sales, blah, blah, blah. People are going to unfollow you. I'm going to be straight up, okay? They're just going to unfollow you. So you need to start working from a place of power and knowledge as opposed to a place from desperation and need. Like, I need you to do this, please. So please take a look at how you're presenting yourself, the business, and the products. And maybe there are things you need to change. Maybe you need to keep doing what you're doing. Whatever it is, do a little self-evaluation and go from there. And reach out to sidelines, uplights, whoever, other leaders in the business, people that you feel connected with, and find things that you like about them. And don't copy them, but just observe how that they are presenting themselves, the product, and the business, and notice if they're either working out of a place of desperation or if they're working out of a place of power and knowledge. So I do want to encourage that to you guys. So my husband and I have been talking lately about I don't even know what, dreams, motivation, people who don't sign up versus people who do sign up, fence sitters, quitters. I mean, we've kind of just been talking about whatever in regards to the business, and he has got some really great things that he's like, I have really great things that he has said, and kind of got me thinking. And I figured that if I needed to hear, we're going to kind of play off each other, kind of like we were doing on the phone yesterday, talking about things. And I may ask him kind of questions, like an interview. He's going to love me for that. But he's really good to talk to. And I really am excited for you guys to hear what he has to say, which he's like, I don't know what I have to say, but it's going to be great. You guys are going to love it. So one thing we were talking about is I signed him up as a distributor after probably 4 months in the business, I guess, maybe. Yeah. 4 months in the business. And he was working a lot. So, of course, I was kind of just running his team and doing things like that. And he had a full-time job and just would support me as much as he could. And so we're talking about jobs and working for other people's dreams as opposed to your own dreams. And so I asked him, because sometimes if you have a team member who you sign up and they're not really into it, or they were and then now they're not, and then they support you, but different things like that. I said, so I'm just wondering, because I'm asking, because maybe my team could relate, why is it that some people you feel they start and then they don't do anything, or they don't start at all? Does that make sense?
Kind of, I guess. I don't know. I think there's a couple different reasons why that would happen. I think one of it, when people start out, they're super excited about something new, something that they've found that works for them, something that they're passionate about, and they go into it all, 100%. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make lots of money, and maybe don't really understand how much effort is needed. I think I said something about, I wonder if that's where like the idea of the pyramid scheme comes from, is that people think that, I'm going to sign up as a distributor and I'm going to do a little bit of work and I'm going to make all this money, I'm going to be rich and live happily ever after kind of thing. When in reality, the people that get rich with multi-level marketing companies are the people that work it like a full-time job or more. They put in 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. That is their job. That is what they do for a living. It's not a hobby. It's not something that I got to do something with this so that I can make my money. And I mean, yeah.
They understand. As we were talking, we realized people that are successful versus people who are not, which we'll do webinars kind of on that mindset in the future. They understand that this is not a sign up and then overnight I become rich. This is consistency. And maybe you don't have 30 or 40 hours to put it in a week, and that's okay. But where people, I think, don't understand is you need to have that daily consistent, I'm actually going to do something kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed with social media, part of my new job is to run the social media for the company that I work for. And I'm not given a budget, so everything is done, purely through the content that I share, and hoping that people like that, and growing organically, I think is how Facebook refers to it. And it's really hard, because if I don't spend the time every single day to find good content that is going to relate to our customers and the people that are following us, I'll spend 2 weeks of like everyday diligent posting, really trying hard to find good content, and we start building numbers, and numbers are going up, and that's good. And I'll get busy, and there'll be 3 or 4 days, sometimes even less than that, where I forget to post or I don't have time to. When I go back and look at my numbers, 2 or 3 days is all it takes to lose all the momentum that it took 2 solid weeks of work to build. It's kind of eye-opening. So if you're not consistent, like every day consistent, it'll
take you twice as long.
A fraction of the time to lose the interest of people that you've spent so much time and effort trying to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed that myself with one day. I'm a pretty consistent Facebook poster about my life, about It Works, and I didn't post for reals like 48 hours. And all of a sudden I posted and no one was liking my stuff anymore because I dropped off the face of the earth. So that's just a normal, like, non-company example. It's the same thing.
That's human nature. We've been so accustomed to like pow, in your face, very intense, constantly bombarded with stuff, that if you're not right in there with the mix, in people's faces, figuratively speaking, of course,
not literally,
effectively in people's faces, they're gonna look at other stuff. They're gonna spend their time looking at whatever else is most interesting to them. And it takes, think of social media in terms of like attention span of like a 1 or 2 year old. Like if you're not there all the time, constantly paying attention to what's going on, you're gonna lose them.
Yeah, and please don't let any of this scare you. We're just maybe trying a little different approach on how to explain the importance of consistency for people, because people like to see. They will see it whether they like it or not if you're consistent, and eventually they're gonna be like, okay, you've been posting about this stuff, like tell me about it, because they are consistently seeing that. And that's where you need to take a look at how you are presenting yourself, the products, and the business. That 2 weeks of consistent posting in his job, I know he's seen, people like this type of thing more than the other. And I guarantee that you're going to see that in your posts. Your market, your social media market, will respond to certain things better than others. And that's another benefit of being consistent. I'm just going to kind of jump to the next. So another thing we're talking about is people who quit and people who are fence sitters, and you've been talking to them and they just don't do anything, or you're like, oh my gosh, they've been a potential for how long now, things like that. And we were kind of talking about that. He's a really good example. I'm just going to tell you, this awesome person here, high five, he just signed a loyal customer with an order of almost 200 BV in volume. And I want him to kind of tell you about that, because it has to do with fence sitters or people who take a long time or don't respond or things like that. So I'd love for you to share that because it's pretty great.
Okay. So this loyal customer is probably my best friend. He's known that we've been involved with It Works from the very beginning. I've talked with him probably a dozen different times about different products, answering little questions. Probably the first real time I, was trying to find a loyal customer, and I was like, oh, I talked to him. We have similar interests, things like that. So I went to him with products like New You, ThermoFit, the ProFit, stuff that guy to guy, we can kind of relate in terms of, things we're interested in. And he, he was interested in the products. I mean, I can't say that honestly any guy's active guy is going to be like, oh yeah, give it to me. But they're also not going to go, oh, I don't need any health products. I don't need anything to help me be active. I can do that by myself. That's not in the guy's mentality. But I talked with him about it. I wasn't pushy. I just said, hey, this stuff's really worked for me. You had mentioned, wanting to get more in shape, things like that, related it to previous things that we talked about, and left it at that. And he said, oh, that's interesting. I don't have the money right now. Let me think about it. Talk to me again later. And so I did. And I did that probably 3 or 4 different times over a year and a half that this happened. Before he finally came to me and said, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm ready. Let's do it right now. And we did. And I mean, that's all it was. I still best friends with him. I can talk with him openly about it because I wasn't pushy. I wasn't, shady about anything that we were doing, and totally transparent about everything that happened.
He wasn't desperate to get him to sign.
No.
He just kept.
He actually came to me over his aunt, who now does It Works as well, because of the relation. I mean, probably some of that's to do with our relationship, but still, friends over family is kind of a big change.
Yeah, you guys don't realize how common that actually is. I mean, you could even take my mom, for example. She was not interested in products really. I mean, she was supportive of me doing this business, of course, but it took her over a year to become a loyal customer, and she's been a loyal customer for 13 months straight. It just takes time for some people, and that's where you need to make sure that you are not acting desperate the way you're talking with people. But you also need to remember that the power of suggestion is real. That's why we continue to follow up. He was still in a friend relationship with him, but also followed up product and business wise. So I thought that was a really cool story. It happens more often than you think, maybe not necessarily 200 in volume worth, but even little things, hair, skin, nails, stuff like that, it's going to happen more often than you think. And we're going to talk about 2 things real quick so I want to end before the hour. But you guys all know how I've been working on trying to find my groove, and a lot of you have been that way. And it's not necessarily what you do in the powerful months where you're having the most success. It's what you're doing in those slower months. And sometimes we can get caught in a funk and we're not sure what to do. And I was telling him on the phone yesterday, I just don't know if I know how to be a leader anymore. What did I do? That sort of thing. We all have those moments. And he reminded me, well, you were doing this, you need to do this. And so sometimes it takes someone on the outside of yourself to help you realize what you need to be doing. So I'm going to kind of have him tell you, we'll kind of talk with each other about when I was feeling the most excited, motivated, and at my best. And I want to pose that question to you as we're kind of just talking quickly. What were you doing in your life and your business when you were the most excited, when you were the most motivated, and when you felt like you were at your best? What is it that you were doing? I guarantee your upline probably knows. So if you don't know, ask them. I asked my husband, And he told me, he told me like,
I called her out. I told her what was what.
he did.
So for Kelly, the biggest thing when we moved here, she didn't know anyone. I have an uncle here and his family that I've seen occasionally growing up. But other than that, we didn't know anyone. And so she, for whatever reason, was like, all right, well, I don't know anyone, so I got nothing to lose. And went all in for several months. And she was going to all different kinds of local events, like the little expos, or not like farmers market kind of thing, but
Like booths and stuff like that.
yeah, it just every little event she could think of. She got involved in groups on Facebook that were like
Networking.
yeah, networking with other moms that ran businesses out of their homes here locally. Was talking to people all the time, anyone, following up on every lead she could, just very involved. I mean, she probably I worked during the day and she watched Lexi, and then when I came home, it was my turn to watch Lexi because she went to work. Sometimes till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. She was busy talking to people, answering questions. And that's the result of that was, she reached her diamond. And
yeah,
she was asking,
what do I do?
What do I do? And I was like, well, go to events.
What were you doing?
What were you doing was you were going to events. You were getting out and networking. I mean, social media is great, but unless you're adding new people to your reach, it's going to go stagnant. You got to do things to reach new people. If that's going to farmers markets, awesome. Go every chance you get. If there's bridal expos or whatever, I don't care. If you can get in, I don't care if it's related or not. Go and be a part of that and talk to people and follow up on every person that expressed interest. And you're going to be amazed at how fast all of a sudden you're going to have so many people that you're trying to work with. You're not even going to know what to do.
And that's not something that I realized because, let's be real, it mainly happens to us women, okay? We don't know what to do next. We don't know how to become unstuck. And sometimes all it takes is that person to be like, well, when you were having the most success and the most excited, this is the stuff you were doing, so you need to go do it. It's different for everyone, obviously, like the stuff that you do when you're most successful, but you need to remember or have someone remind you, like my husband did for me, get back out there. You're not doing it, so go. And sometimes that could be tough love, but you can't be offended by it. If you want that success, you need to take the things that are said and try it, especially if you've already done it in the past. You know what I mean? And it really does take that reminder sometimes from someone, like the little elbow in the ribs. And he's like, when's the next event with that group? Why don't you go? And just different things like that. So reach out to people. Your upline. I have a best friend that's a sideline. Now we're not even on the same leg at all. And she helps me immensely, So reach out to those people, ask them, how do I do this again? How do I feel excited again? Because you have to believe in yourself first, you guys, and sometimes you need help from others to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself first, because if you do not, how in the world are people going to want to believe in you and believe in the business? How many times have you heard me say, people fall in love with you first and then the business? They don't join the business because they just love the business so much. They love you. You inspire them. Your story does. So you need to believe in yourself. And if you need a little nudge in the ribs from someone to remind you, hey, you were working, successful, all that stuff when you were doing this stuff. So get back out there. Reach out. Okay? Because we want nothing more than for you guys to experience the success. I was thinking the other day, I feel like It Works has really helped and kind of saved our relationship in a way. And that may not be the same thing for everyone, but the financial freedom, the time freedom that this has brought into our relationship, what the products have done for us individually and collectively, this is real life, and that's what it's about. So honest to goodness, we want nothing more than for you to feel that way. And remember that excitement and that awesomeness that you can feel. So believe in yourself. If you need help believing in yourself, we're here. Your upline's here. Whatever you need. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. We are going to be done for tonight. I'm really grateful for this guy right here for being willing/unwilling to be to be on the webinar tonight. I'm like, thanks for being on the webinar. He's like, well, I didn't really have a choice. He's a trooper like that. So you guys, please post your takeaways from this. This is how we learn and apply from each other. And my husband's probably like, oh my gosh, she says that all the time. But I'm a firm believer in that. You can hear something, you can write down something, but when you're not sharing what you have learned and applying what you've learned, there's no way others can learn, and that you're going to actually take that and go forth. So I want to learn from you. We want to learn from you. We love you and hope you're having an awesome week. And my husband goes say one more thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
I know I don't get on here very much, and I kind of am more like behind the scenes with everything. But I actually am really involved in everything that she does. But I just want to say this. Even though I'm not like on the group all the time, if you guys have questions and want like a practical, logical, no beat around the bush kind of answer, you can certainly reach out to me. If you've got women, if you've got husbands that are kind of skeptical, want to ask questions, I will make time to talk with you guys about it. I will answer any questions. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and get back to you. Because what this company and these products have done for us and our family is, it has truly been a lifesaver. From a financial perspective, I know that guys worry about that a lot more than maybe the women do. So I will talk about it. I have no reservations. I will be open and honest. So if you got questions, if your husbands have questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, he's legit. When sometimes I tell him some things like, oh, someone asked me about this, or he's like, let me talk to him. So he's being serious about that, because women and men think differently. Everyone thinks differently. And I'm more of the like, yeah, let's go do this thing. And he's like, well, let's talk about this. So he's being for real. Anyways, good?
Yep, that was it.
Okay, we love you guys. Have a great night. Go Rock September.